No problem, Bernie. It's great to be back in the commentary box once again, and it looks like it's going to be one hell of a race tonight. Yeah, it should be interesting with that one fast repair. I can see quite a fair few people probably use that one after the first couple of laps. I'm going to say with the amount of cars on this track, Bernie, it might get a bit hairy out there. Yeah, just jumping in at the last second. We've been able to gather a few details, guys, on the event, making sure we have a basic idea of what's going on. And as we're talking, Michael Healy's just taken pole at this point in time. You want to hope you can make sure all the corners are correct. There's only about 7 minutes of qualifying remaining, guys. So you'll probably only get 1, maybe 2 laps in if you're out there already. So they need to make sure they hit their marks. Don't take the track, wear their tyres out too much, and see how they can go. Saying that at this point in time, Dane Warren, even though he has provisional pole taken away from him, Bernie, he's still not back out on the track to try and regain that position.
Yeah, and I apologise to the viewers out there. My microphone was muted, so you missed the best call in my career. But as I was saying, Michael Healy doesn't look like he may be overly confident at the moment. Just having a look, he's getting in and out of his car. Dane Warren is going back out for another run, and Richard Skender at the moment, 2:22.007. If he's going to have anything like getting near Dane Warren, he's going to have to do an absolute flyer as he comes through the final corner now onto the start-finish straight. So yeah, 2:22.664. It's an improvement, but not enough. And meanwhile, Jared Tyman, he has jumped into the 2:21.838.
Yeah, he's flying at the moment, being able to take up to that third position, Bernie, at the moment. Yeah, Richard Skeny's got a long way to go still at this point in time. And Dane Warren looks to be back out on track at the moment.
Yeah, he's out on a warm-up now, just coming through, and he'll have to go all the way around before he starts his hot lap. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get just over 0.2 of a second out. Doesn't sound like much, but if you're at your absolute limit, it can feel like an eternity.
Yeah, that's correct. And this field at the moment, guys, is split by about 7 seconds, a bit less than 7 seconds, so it should be in for a nice race tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting race, and of course this is a support race for the Australian Online Supercar Championship, which will also be coming to you on RRTV. That broadcast is due to kick off at 9:45pm. So after this race we'll have some post-race interviews, and then we'll have a break and come back and call the rest of the action tonight.
Yep, and saying that, half an hour, guys, remember this race is time certain tonight, so we'd be looking at about 12 laps, maybe even less.
yeah, it's a heck of a long way around, isn't it? They're doing fastest lap 2:20, and most of the field are in the 2:22s at the moment.
Yeah, so doing a bit of maths, looks like it, yeah, about 12 to 14 laps could be the variation in tonight's race.
Yeah, and we're riding now with Dane Warren. He's just coming around on his warm-up, and then we'll see what he can put out there. He's actually trying to close down Michael Healy. Now, Michael's looks like he's gotten out of that car, and he must feel that he's done the best he can do at this point.
Well, Dane Warren is a hard charger, and he'll give it his best crack to make sure he can try to get that position back. So Healy would be sitting on the edge of his race seat at the moment, hoping that he can keep that pole position at this point in time.
Yeah, well, let's see what he's doing. He's just coming around slowly now to make sure he's all lined up to start this fast lap. We'll actually stay with him and ride with him as he does this, and we'll see if he can improve 0.2 of a second. That's all he's going to need. So let's bring up the quali lap counter so we can watch this. He's come through turn 1. I guess he's going to have to make sure he makes absolutely no mistakes in this lap.
He'll make sure he uses every bit of the racetrack also where he can to make sure he gets some nice runs off the corners, hits the apex with speed, and he should hopefully get a good lap.
Yeah. And of course, this great event is brought to you by West End Mazda tonight, so big thanks to them for supporting this great event, and it's good to have some people on board backing it.
And looking good so far, Bernie.
Yeah, he just jumped a curb there, got it a little bit sideways, gathered it up. It wouldn't have cost him any. Again, right out on the edge here as it comes down to the hairpin.
Continuing the speed through the corner, around the elbow.
Yeah, through the corner with no name, very wide there, 2 wheels up over the curb. Hopefully he didn't get a off track there, because that would be the end. He's still pushing on though.
Like he could have a crack at this one for sure.
Yeah, it's been a fairly neat lap, but he's right on the edge. You can see he's using absolutely all the track plus the ripple strips, and yeah, he's working very hard. So we're at 1 minute 42 at the moment. We'll see if he can improve here. So 2:02. I'm not sure if he's going to do it, Bailey.
He'll definitely come close for sure as he comes down the straight over 210 k's an hour.
Yeah, hard on the brakes into the final chicane here. 2:17, 2:18. He's not going to do it. Already past the 2:20s. Looks like he's in the 2:25s. Well off the mark there.
Yeah, and I dare say he did get a 1x somewhere down that point in time because the lap did not count.
Yeah, we were riding with him, and when he got 2 wheels up there coming into corner with no name, and it looked like that may have been the one. But I guess now he's got enough time there to try and stitch together a second lap. At the moment, though, Jared Tyman, he is sitting in third. He's in the pits. Dane's out there, but Jared's about 1 second at the moment behind on the timing.
Yeah, just under a second at the point in time, but Dane is going to probably will give it another crack this time by. Top 4, Michael Healy, Jared Tyman and Richard Skenya are sitting in pit lane at this point in time.
Yeah, most of the field's down there, I think, as Dane now just comes out of Lacooms, and he's coming into Brussels by the look of it, and then up into the corner with no name, of course. I wonder if they'll ever name that corner.
Considering I don't know half the tracks corners around the name of them all, it fits quite well for myself, Bernie.
Yeah, down into Puon, Dane Warren goes now. 1:18 so far, a cleaner lap than last time, and we'll see if he can actually gain anything to try and get pole. of course, you know, starting on the front row, that's all you really need to do around here to have a good race. If he was down in midfield, you know, in the 20s, I think he'd be a lot more nervous.
Yeah, that's correct. Considering the amount of cars that do have to you pass and making sure that you're getting them as quick as possible, considering we have limited time and laps.
Yeah, so down into Blanchimont now, and that's turn 17, 18, and he'll be pretty much flat out here in 5th gear, I think it is. Just lifts slightly out on the ripple strip, and now we're coming to the chicane for the final time here for qualifying. So far 2:11, a lot better than last time. It's about 4 seconds quicker. It's going to be close. 2:16. 2:28.86 he set, and that's not quite enough there. He beat his best time by 0.02 of a second.
A very quick lap, considering I would never be able to do that myself, Bernie. But it looks like the field could be pretty much set at this point in time.
I'd say definitely is. We'll wait till the guys start gridding up. Then, of course, folks, we'll call there's 38 drivers out there now, and we'll take you through the field shortly so you can see where your favourite driver will start.
Just a reminder, guys, again, this is a 30-minute time certain race for all the people who are just joining us. 1 fast repair per driver, or per vehicle, sorry, and with a 15 incident limit, will make this a definitely good race.
Yeah, it certainly will, and we'll just wait for the drivers to start gridding up. It's great to have the Porsche Cup, of course, first time here supporting the Australian Online Supercar Championship, and the first time on RRTV, so it's good to have them on board.
About 40 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, till we about get gridding up these vehicles on the track. Shouldn't be too far away.
Yeah, it should be a very exciting race, and of course, you know, the front two, they're in the 220s. The closest is Jared Timon. He was in 221.838. The rest of the field, they were in the 222s. But saying that, they are very closely spaced in the 222s all the way down to 15th position. So I think there's going to be good racing on the top two, possibly top three, and then close racing throughout the top 15 at this point.
Yeah, the top. Once you've past the top three, Bernie, the next group of 12 vehicles are all in a 1 second bracket. So that will definitely make it interesting for sure.
It certainly will, and we can see the guys now starting to grid up, but let's go through this field and see where your favourite driver's starting from. So Michael Healy, he will start from pole position. Dane Warren, front row right next to him in second. On the second row tonight we have Jared Timon and Scott Lanack in fourth. Third row, Richard Skender and Cody Bircher. Starting in the fifth row out of seventh is Thomas Hinds, Michael Hammond. Then ninth we have Cameron Dance. 10th, Mr. Putra is there from Asia. 11th is Tom Curran, Shannon Mason. He'll start out of 12th.
Out of 13th tonight, Michael Kirkham, and 14th will be Concert McClunsky Young. 15th tonight will be Jono Freeman, and 16th will be Alex Greenwood. 17th tonight will be Luke Lukes, and 18th will be Chris Dawson, Simon Mesamo, Mitchell Bales, Ben Croydon, and Zach Radizat, Thomas McMillan, and JC Richards will round out your top 24.
Out of 25th is Tim Weston. Daniel Lead out of 26. He'll be commentating later on tonight. Darren McKenzie in 27th. Lasith Leonage in 28th. 29th, Jackson Suzlin Harlow. 30th is Troy Allen. Starting out of 31st, David Mulhall. Mick Wilson, 32nd. 33rd, Ian Smee. Jake Maloney, he's down there in 34th, with Jamie McKnight starting out of 35th. And of course, I'm not racing, so you won't see me improving from that. Neither is Nick or Will Barrington by the looks of it.
Looks like they're all on the starting grid, Bernie, waiting for the green light to flash. They're flashing their headlights on the grid.
Yeah, they're all excited, and what a grid it is as well. And you can see a Dane Warren outside, Michael Healy in the Momo entry on the inside. Revs will be rising here very shortly, folks, as we start round one of the Porsche Carrera Cup. Here we go.
Great jump by Dane on the outside. Michael Healy even better.
And of course it's the midfield you've got to be really worried about. As you can see them all streaking through, they all look like they're behaving themselves. As I know, spoke too soon, we've got two cars on their roofs, and that one is a 949-57. That's also involved, and a bit of a mess for a number of drivers there.
Yeah, Dane Warren taken out of the race in turn number one, a favourite for tonight's Porsche Carrera Cup race.
Yeah, we're going to jump back and see if we can unpack exactly what happened to him here. Just got to... Okay, let's go to the West End Mazda replay and let's see if we can work out exactly how he got involved in this. I was saying earlier that starting from the front row, normally you'll be kept out of trouble, but let's have a close look at this in slow-mo. As they come through turn one, Dane Warren's on the outside, teammate on the inside. Oh, he just gassed it up. He lost it under acceleration into his teammate. The other pink car behind him, that was a separate accident. But, oh, my goodness me. And we see Dane Warren barrel rolling down the staggered start-finish straight, and that would probably be the end of his race. He'll get a fast repair, but coming back from there is going to be a big call, isn't it, Bailey?
Yeah, considering he towed himself back to the pit lane, so a 2-minute wait on average, and 3 of them are sitting in pit lane currently waiting for a tow.
Yeah, so meanwhile up front, folks, we'll update you on the top 10. We've got Michael Healy leading. We've got Scott Lanark, he's in second. Michael Hammond in the laser racing entry third. Jared Tyman fourth. Cameron Dance. That rounds out your top 5.
Very fast at the moment, Bernie out there. Michael Healy's got a bit of a gap at the moment, 5 or 6 cars, but they're chasing him behind him very quickly.
Yeah, they certainly are. We're riding with Cody Bircher down here in 7th as he has a look up on the inside of Thomas Hinds. Thomas defends and holds on to that 6th position. So far, Michael Healy's gap is 1.016 seconds, and we're expecting him to bolt. And of course, Dane Warren's not out there now to try to keep him honest. Scott's going to do the very best he can, but I just don't think he's got the pace to do much at the moment.
Yeah, considering what we saw at qualifying, Bernie, I can't see him getting the speed out there, but we could see something happen today that could be quite mesmerising.
Certainly could, and we've lost in that incident a number of cars. Of course, Jackson Suzlin Harlow, he was involved in that, and he's had to go in for a repair, and it looks like he may have just pulled out. Dane Warren also towed into the pits. That's a big story for tonight. Connor McCluskey-Young also involved in the 999 entry and getting repaired as we speak. So is Troy Allen in the number 5. The other cars that we have lost already is the 027 of Jamie McKnight. Looks like he's retired for the night, and so has Ian Smee.
Michael Healy still out in front, Bernie. Got a few car links still over. Got Lanarch. Michael Hammond still there, but close behind those. Jared Tyman and Cameron Dance having quite a bit of a dance at the moment.
Yeah, and Jared, of course, he's carrying all that damage after he got hit by his teammate Dane Warren, who gassed it up on cold tyres, turned around and gave him a good hit. Now we can see Cameron Dance getting a bit of a run here. What's he going to do? Do you reckon he's going to dance under brakes and get past him?
Could be a possibility. Could go for a bit of dive. Not quite sure. We'll have to see when it comes up into a chicane. On the outside he goes.
Well, I guess if he can brake and hold it on out there, he should get the overlap. He just doesn't have enough of putting the nose up. And, of course, Jared's given him a lot of room, but Jared will have the inside coming into turn 1 here up at La Source.
Good crack by Cameron Dance. He's not as carrying any damage by the looks of it, the amount Jared Timon is, so he might be able to get a bit of a chase down the hill here and have a crack of it coming up into the next chicane.
Yeah, well, he's going to get the toe up onto Camel Straight here. He's right up behind Jared. Jared's got all that front end damage, which could affect his top end speed. Now Cameron Dance, what's he going to do? Looking on the inside, he's going to have to do it on the outside as he sweeps past now down towards Camel Straight. Under brakes very shortly. Now he's going to do him on the outside.
Great passing by Cameron Dance, carrying about an extra 10 k's of speed there, so that much damage on a car can affect the car that much, folks. Definitely don't want to have to carry that one throughout a short race like this one.
That's for sure, especially when you've got that massive Camel Straight there. It's generally in a straight car you're a sitting duck, but with all that damage it'd be very difficult indeed. Further back though, Thomas Hinn sporting the new Wax It paint job. He's, of course, we'll see him later on tonight in the V8 supercars, but doing a good job out there, sitting in 6th position. Meanwhile, up front, though, folks, Michael Healy, he's got a gap of 1.1 seconds. His time, 2:21.566, and Scott Lanark, he is matching him with the 2:21.684. Michael Hammond, 2:21.896. They're the only three in the 2:21s at the moment.
Very quick speeds considering the qualifying times that were posted earlier on in the night.
And we'll look, see if there's any other battles further in the pack. We've got Jono Freeman here. He's sitting in 9th position in the Thieves, looks like sponsored entry. He's got Mr. Putra right behind him. Great to see Mr. Putra, we'll call him, joining us once again and having a great run.
Haven't seen that name myself, Bernie. It's quite an interesting one though, and he seems to be doing alright at this point in time in the race.
Yeah, he's normally he competes in the Sim Racers Asia series, and we normally see him quite a lot in that series when we broadcast it, but that hasn't started up yet, so he looks like he's come down under to get his racing fix.
Fair enough, not too long ago, Thomas Curran spun around coming in for the last corner, and that's cost him 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah, you can see him just down here in the can't even read what that is, in the black and red Porsche.
Talking about another shock of the night so far, Bernie, all the way back in 14th position, Richard Skenya, your 3rd place qualifier, sorry, 5th place qualifier, I'm pretty sure, no, 3rd place, my fault guys, is way back in the field at this point, carrying a lot of damage.
Yeah, Richard Skender's just ahead of the car we're riding with, huge amount of damage. I'll see if we can actually find what happened to him and whether he was involved in that first corner incident. I'd say all that damage, Bailey, is from that first corner incident, because he doesn't seem to have had any other off tracks, so he could be another victim of that.
Very, very big incident starting at the start of the race for people if you were not tuned in. 2nd place qualifier Dane Warren is already out of the race and was towed back to pit lane.
Yeah, and Dane started out a 2nd, and he was a favourite to take this, but cold tyres pretty much beat him.
He hasn't moved from pit lane since there, and it looks like he'd be calling it the night at this point in time as they are on lap number 4.
Yeah, so looking at your top 5 as they stand, folks, and we'll bring this up very quick. Wrong one. So Michael Healy leads. He's pretty much managing that gap of 1 second over Scott Lanark. Then we've got Michael Hammond, who's now coming under pressure from Cameron Dance after Cameron dispatched Jared Tyerman in 5th position. So Bailey, looks like Cameron's on the move. He's already up 5 positions from where he started in 9th, and he's definitely got his momentum and mojo going here as we come back on Camel Straight. See the difference now as he tries to range up, and you can tell he's not closing nearly as much as he was on Jared Timon with all that damage.
Goes to the outside again. Can he do it under brakes? Looks at it on the outside, not as good as before, but it looks like he's going to get the job done.
Yeah, and Jared's being around the outside there, too wide as Michael Hammond, and he rubs. Michael had to be a little aggressive there to hold that position, but Jared, he saw an opportunity and he pounced. Thomas Hins also now closing in. Got a good battle pack here of about 4 drivers forming.
Yeah, it's looking very good at the moment, and it looks like this could end up being the pack of the night at this point in time, as they are fighting for sheep stations at this point in time.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we're looking out the back of Michael Hammond's car here, that Jared Timon, and seeing what he can do. He's looking on the inside, showing his nose, awesome under brakes, closes right up, but nowhere near as close to make a move yet. It'd have to be very frustrating for Jared, wouldn't it? Because he's really pacey through this part of the circuit, but of course he's crippled as soon as he comes up onto Camel Straight.
Yeah, pretty much as the damage of his vehicle is just making him suffer at this point in time. He's got the corners down pat, he knows his lines and where he's got to drive and braking, etc. Yeah, but as you said, he is crippled and his damage is damaging him harshly on the straights in a long Camel Straight.
It certainly is, and we can see Thomas Hins here in 6th position as he comes deep under brakes there, closes right up on Jared. He knows if he can close right up on him coming through La Source, he has a very good chance of being able to take him down Camel Straight.
See him come by this time. Bernie, you could see Thomas Hins even be able to get the toe coming down the straight, maybe even getting closer and closer to getting that pass on Jared.
Well, Jared got a really good exit there, and he's actually now, Thomas is trying to close in on him. He's just not closing in. I think Jared got an awesome drive down through Rd1, and he's all over the back of Michael Hammond.
He's doing well at this point in time, supporting the amount of damage got on the back of that vehicle. But yes, Michael Hammond's got to be careful at this point in time. He's definitely looking hungry for that position.
I might have been mistaken. All that damage may not be affecting his top end speed at all.
It doesn't seem to be hurting him too much at this point in time, but we'll have to see later on in the race to see if these cars that are holding up a lot better than he do fight on to be going a lot further on in the track.
Yeah, definitely, and the race is shaping up to be a good one though. If we look further up, Scott Lanark, he is matching Michael Healy. He's got that gap down to 0.7 of a second, so he is showing a very good form here on race pace compared to his qualifying times.
Sure is, guys, as we hit the 16-minute mark of the race so far. Reminder, it is only a 30-minute race tonight for the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia.
Yeah, later on this season they'll have some Enduros, and of course those races will be slotted into the calendar when the Australian Online Supercar Championship has their off weeks. But you can see the Carrera Cup will be around just about every week racing.
It's a very shifty little and neat little event for sure. The admins have done an alright job tonight to get this one up and running. Few little issues, but they've done well, and a big entry list tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, massive entry list, and a big call out to all their race organisers to get this underway. It was a bit iffy earlier on tonight, but Jamie McKnight did an awesome job pulling it all together and making this race come to life tonight.
That's right, and considering they've got over 94 entries into the list, sorry, over 94 entries into the event, to have 34 roll up tonight has been an amazing job, considering we had 40 in the practice session earlier.
Yeah, it's just great to hear the Porsches and see them back out on track, isn't it? They're a beautiful car and an exciting car to watch as we see Jared showing his nose once again on Michael Hammond and doesn't quite make that move. Looking further down the field though, we'll come back up to Pointy End. If we have a look at Tom Curran in 13th, Simon Mizzomo going side by side here down the end of Camel Straight, and we can see Tom Curran, he will take that position away.
Yep, Simon just got out of the way to make sure that was a clean pass. He'd rather take one position away from himself at this point in the race. It was still so for longer to go, then get that position back later than go out so early in the race.
Yeah, definitely, and he's coming under a bit of fire from Richard Skender. As we can see, Richard in that beat-up car, he started out a third tonight and down in 14th, trying to recover from a very eventful start, one could say.
Yeah, an eventful start for him, all right. He's down 9 positions from where he started, but he's going to try and get as many back as possible and hopefully try and make the top 10 tonight, carrying so much damage.
Yeah, we'll see how he goes, but up front, the gap down to 0.4 of a second now. Scott Lanarkey's starting to make his presence known, just past the 50% mark here, folks, and we'll see what he can do now as he comes into the chicane.
Definitely all over the back of him rather than early in the race. He's definitely held his ground at this point in time. We thought maybe Michael Healy might be able to get away from the pack a bit earlier on in the race, make a bit of a gap and get away, but definitely we've seen Scott Lenarch stick to the back of him. He started out a second.
Yeah, and
started out fourth.
Sorry. Yeah, based on quali time, I was expecting Michael to run away with it, but it's just not the case.
No, it definitely hasn't been at this point in time, and we predicted earlier it could have been that way, Bernie. But hopefully this one could shape out to be a good race to the end.
Yeah, it certainly could. It's they've got a gap over 6.7 seconds back to Cameron Dance. If you want to know what that looks like, folks, well, you can see them coming down now into Camel Straight, or the end of it. Michael Hammond right behind him. Then we've got Thomas Hins. He's made that move on Cody Bircher. And then we've got Jared Tyman. He's down there in 7th position and trying to press on. He's gone backwards a little bit, 2 positions from where he started, but of course he's probably got a good excuse.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough there for sure, Bernie.
So have you ever driven these Cup cars, Bailey?
I have actually had a few races in these cars, and well, I can say they are fun to drive, and I'm sure anyone who has driven them could say they are fun. They're a different type of vehicle. You can't race them like many of the others, but definitely it's got the speed to show off a few cars.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely a fun car to drive. I've had a bit of a run in them, and I quite like them. I like the way they handle. I like the way they feel, and of course, I like the way they sound.
Yes, I have to agree with you there. They are amazing little cars. I love the big wing on these cars. It does make them a lot more racier and look awesome.
Yeah, definitely are. And riding with Jono Freeman here, up 5 positions at the moment. But let's jump back up to the front because Scott Lanark, he's got the blowtorch on the back of Michael Healy here. Under brakes, gets squirrely. That's how deep he's going into the chicane. And we'll see what he can do as they come up to La Source here. Looks like he can hang on, but he just doesn't have the moves at the moment.
Yeah, he's got to be careful though, Bernie, because if he does put himself under brakes too much, he could wear off his tyres a lot more than what Michael Healy is at some point in time. Going deeper under there, going a bit swervy, it could tear up the tyres, and later on the race he could fall off him due to tyre impact even.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. 10 minutes to go. I'd think in a 30-minute race, tyres should not really be a factor in this.
You'd hope not, yeah, but considering what has happened in the past and the new updates iRacing are bringing out are absolutely brilliant, He's put the flashing lights on at this point in time. He's saying, "G'day, I'm here." Don't be scared.
Trying to get into his head, isn't he? Flashing lights as they come up to the braking marker. He's hoping that Michael's going to blink, miss that braking marker, and he's going to get a clean run. But I think you'd have to get up earlier in the morning to pull that one over Michael's eyes.
Yeah, that's correct there. Still few positions back, 3, 4, 5. They have a nice battle at this point in time. Thomas Hinz is even joining in the battle at this point in time, as he's starting to try and get all over the back of Michael Hammond.
Yeah, and Michael's trying to get back on the back of Cameron Dance there, but Cameron's got a good little gap of just over 0.6 of a second, and not enough to breathe easy, but definitely enough to get a breath and relax, try to get that momentum going.
Correct, and as we've been speaking about the two front blokes, Jonah Retirement has lost 2 positions to Thomas Hines and to Cody Bersher.
Yeah, he's definitely falling backwards. The car's starting, that damage is starting to take its toll, I think. So we can see once again Scott Lanark closing in once more on Michael Healy. What's he going to do here coming into the chicane? So they just went through Blanchimont there, flat out in 5th. What's he going to do? Michael goes defensive, forcing Cameron to take the outside, puts the car in the middle of the road there, which he is entitled to do, and holds that position.
Answer there says, "I'm not losing this position this late in the race." As he's going up the inside, tucks back in behind. It looks like he won't try to do it. He might try to get it down Camel straight into the chicane.
Yeah, and every time we see him there, once again, heavy braking area, straight on the lights, flashing in the mirrors there, trying to get into Michael Healy's head, trying to force a mistake to affect this pass. Meanwhile, we've got Hinz here and Hammond side by side as they come into Rd1 here, and they sort themselves out. But I'll tell you what, it's some very good driving amongst these 4.
Yep, after the first incident tonight, in the first lap, it's become a great race so far, guys. As you can see, Thomas Hinz, Cody Bersher side by side into the chicane. We go 2 by 2, as Jerry Tyman looks to go on the outside of Cody Bersher.
Yeah, and Hammond and Hinz are giving themselves enough room there. They're racing close, but with respect here. Have a look once again. Hinz having a look on the inside. Bersher crawling over the back of Hinz here, but he has nowhere to go. That's allowing Timon to close back up on the back of this 4. Meanwhile, up front, looks like Scott Lanark has made that move on Healy, and we'll see if we can go back and catch that move. So back on the West End Mazda replay, we'll have a quick look at this. Sorry, folks, we'll go back another 30 seconds. Okay, so we're having a look at them coming down Kemmel Straight here. Michael went defensive on the inside, and Lanark forced to the outside as they go through Lacombe's, too wide. Tell you what, he just drove around the outside at Lacombe's and said, "Thank you very much, I'll take that position." That was one hell of a move, Bailey.
Yeah, it sure was. Sorry, I was just a little bit distracted, but yeah, good to see him now up in front, considering what we expected early in the race. Michael Healy, the runaway. Didn't expect, as myself, Scott, to be up here so close, but well done to him. And as you can see, as they cross the line, all the timing fixes itself up for myself, and see what the rest of the race goes off as we've got about 4 minutes remaining.
And just have a look at this replay here. There must have been an incident with Hammond and Hinz because they were very, very spaced out. And I'm sure, oh yeah, Hammond went around, and that looks like, is it going to claim Timon? It does. Timon's gone as well, and that explains that huge gap.
See them jumping back through the field now.
Yeah, so that's made a massive gap there. Dance's up good 4 seconds up the road, but Hinz and Bircher were lucky to avoid that incident with Hammond going around. but unfortunately that has claimed Tyman, and it looks like both Hammond and Tyman have retired from the race.
Yeah, they've called their pit stops for tonight, and that looks like with the tow time, it would not be worth them coming back out at this point in time. So unfortunate to see them having such a good race up until this point in time, Bernie, to see them go so late.
Yeah, and another driver we haven't seen much of is Connor McCluskey-Young for PRA. He's had a bit of a shocker out there as well, down 14 positions. That car had to be towed to the pits, and of course we saw him on the roof in turn 1. But it's great to see they used that fast repair, and he went back out and having a run. 1 lap down, but he's still out having a good time.
That's correct. You want to come back out into the race and hope you can finish up the 30 minutes of hopefully good driving and keeping it clean once you bring it back out.
Yeah, and Chris Dawson down here in 18th and 19th with Tim Weston having a good battle, and that's the beauty of this make of series is the guys all through the field will be having close battles and enjoying it just as much as if they're up the front.
That's correct, and with the car being so such the same, where the setup is very minimal, it's all about the driving in this car. It does make it very fun for the drivers that not even are at the front battling out for each other, but even the mid-pack and lower pack, and they get into some nice little battles.
Yeah, once it all settles down, it's normally very good racing. Of course, it can be a bit hairy at the start, but all the incidents came up from the front of the field and fed their way through. As we see now, Putra up to 6th position. He's made 4 since his start in the Alien Needs sponsored Porsche 911. He's got Shannon Mason right behind him, and then Jono Freeman. We haven't seen much of Jono, but he's nursing a pretty bent rear wing here, sitting in 8th position.
Yeah, also Putra looks like he's carrying a little bit of front right hand damage. He might have clipped a wall somewhere along the track. Not quite sure what's happened there.
Yeah, meanwhile up front we can see now Healy all over the back of Lanark. He's starting to look like he's wanting to make that move, and we knew in qualifying he had a huge amount of pace, but maybe Lanark was just foxing or more likely focusing on having a good race setup, and it's definitely paying off at the moment. They're both circulating in the 222s. Lanark's last one, 222.308. If you look at Cameron Dance, he's in the 223.4s. So it goes to show how far ahead of the field is now. Of course, it's a shame Dane Warren spun, because it would have been very interesting to see if he was still in this race, if he had have been able to gap these guys, or if he was involved in this battle.
Awesome to see if Dane Warren was still in this race. If he was in this pack, the 3-way battle would actually be awesome out in front, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely, and we can see now riding with Healy, see just how dirty the track gets. Of course, the street sweepers will come out and clean this track off before the supercars come out later on in this evening, and they're due, the broadcast for them will recommence at 9:45 p.m. tonight.
Billy flashes the light, says, "G'day, I'm here, I'm coming for you, mate." And he just tucks in behind him around the chicane for the final time. Sorry, not the final time, final turn.
The final turn, yeah. So 1 minute 30 to go, and well, let's get back to the front there, because Michael could pounce at any moment. Just see Cameron Dance in the background there, and he can see them, but he's a long way from being anywhere near them.
Yeah, he'd be a good 10 to 15 car lengths behind them. Unfortunately, he's got a long way home if he wants to get anywhere near the front two at this point in time. But these two are having a ripper of the battle at the moment.
They certainly are, riding on the nose cone of Michael Healy here. See now the slipstream's taking hold. He's going to have to go around the outside. Scott, making it very clear he's going to go up the inside.
They're side by side. Could stick the move at this point in time. They're still side by side. Healy gets a bit better of a run. He's still got to hold the outside line though.
Yeah, they're hitting, and there goes Scott straight into the wall. And we'll see if Healy there slows down to redress that. He's flashing his lights. He is not happy.
Okay.
jump back and have a look at that replay. It was getting pretty interesting there. They were banging panels there coming into. We'll go to super slow-mo here if we can, and just have a look at this. Banging panels on the exit there of Lacoombs. And of course, it was enough just to unsettle Scott, and around he goes. Heavily into the wall there, and quite a lot of damage. The bonnet flew off, but then it decided to reattach itself, so the iRacing gods are smiling on him. But meanwhile, we're down to the last lap, and Michael Healy, he's got a massive gap, and it looks like he's going to take the win here tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate circumstances for Scott Lenarch there, as the crash coming out of the chicane there, as Michael Healy again has had a good race along with Cameron Dance and Scott Lenarch.
Yeah, as we see now, Michael Healy under brakes here is going to run away with that. We've got Dane Warren in the chat room down there, and just talking about how easy it is to loop these cars. See Michael Healy takes the win. Scott Lenarch finishes second, pulls it up straight away. That car is beat up. Cameron Dance comes home third. Meanwhile, Thomas Hinds, he comes across the line in fourth, closely followed by Cody Bircher. Then we've got Shannon Mason. He will come home in sixth. Jono Freeman just behind him in seventh. Quite a big gap back down to Tom Curran and Alex Greenwood here, and they will come home in eighth and ninth. Rounding out our top 10, though, will be Simon Mazzomo, and he's closely followed by Zach Raditz.
Interesting name for sure.
So Zach comes across just in front of Thomas McMillan there. The rest of the field streaming through. Great to see Mitchell Bales join us tonight. Didn't see much of him. Tim Weston also finished, and what a race that was.
Definitely was a race and a half, Bernie. And congratulations again to Michael Healy.
Yeah, I can see Daniel Leake now. He's going to be up in the combox to call the Australian Online Supercar Championships. That is due to, the broadcast is due to start in 30 minutes. So not long until we will be back calling all the action for that. And that's a 150k race tonight. So while Daniel comes across the line, let's go through the full grid, folks, so you can see where your favourite driver finished tonight. So Michael Healy takes a win after contact with Scott Lenarch there on the last lap, just after the Lacoombs. Scott held on to second. Cameron Dance comes home in third. Thomas Hinds fourth. Cody Bircher, he finishes in fifth, with Mr. Putra coming home in sixth position. Shannon Mason, I'm bloody reading the grid. Yeah, okay, let's start again. Shannon Mason comes home in seventh position, up 5 from where he finished. Jono Freeman home in eighth. Ninth, Tom Curran. 10th was Alex Greenwood. Finishing in 11th was Simon Mazzomo, and rounding out your top 12 was Richard Skender.
Coming home in 13th tonight was Zach Raditz. 14th tonight was Thomas McMillan. Mitchell Bales will come home in 15th tonight, with Tim Weston in 16th. 17th will be Darren McKenzie, and 18th will be Chris Dawson. Luke's, the awesome name, comes home in 19th, with rounding out your top 20 being Mick Wilson. 21st tonight will be Lazif Lazian, and 22nd will be Will Barrington. 23rd tonight will be David Mulhall, and rounding out top 24 will be Daniel Layett.
Yeah, finishing in 25th was JC Richards. Connor McCluskey-Young comes home in 26th after he rolled that in that first lap incident. Michael Hammond, after that spin and coming together with Jared Timon, comes home 27th with Jared 28th. Jackson Suzlin Harlow finishes in 29th. Troy Allen, we didn't see a lot of Troy, finishes in 30th. Jake Maloney 31st. Ben Croydon 32nd, Michael Kirkham 33rd, Dane Warren is classified in 34th, Ian Smee 35th, 36th was Jamie McKnight, and that is our field.
Excellent race tonight, Bernie, and what a hell of... And I cannot look forward to the next race for these Porsche cars for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, they'll be back next week, and you can catch all of that action on RRTV. But anyway, folks, that ends our broadcast of the Porsche Carrera Cup. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's race. We will be back in exactly half an hour to bring you the Australian Online Supercar Championship, Spa 150. Once again, Bailey, thanks, mate, for jumping in at the last minute. It was all a bit hectic, but as a true champion you are, you made yourself available, so I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problems, Bernie. It's great to be back in the commentary box again. It's been a bit of a while, but it was awesome to be able to recall another race, and what a hell of a race. I cannot believe it once again.
Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, folks, hopefully you'll come back in half an hour for our feature race, which is the Australian Online Supercar Championship 150. But until then, go and grab your favourite beverage, make some popcorn, and join us soon. So on behalf of Bailey Hall, I'm Bernie Wiemers, and we will see you in half an hour. Good night.